You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome. This is Herb Carneal of Minnesota Twins Baseball. Welcome to the 94th episode of this amazing show.
We're here to talk about the 94 World Series run that the Minnesota Twins are having.
Which they failed to have despite having the amazing lineup in the outfield of Dave Winfield, Shane Mack, and Kirby Puckett. Maybe it was because they didn't have the leadership of Steve Brunansky.
Tom Brunansky? Tom Brunansky?
Tom Brunansky.
And holding down right
Lombardoza.
field. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Lombardoza.
And Dan Gladden with his beautiful blonde locks in left field. He had a good
Gladden
mustache.
was gone by 94. We're kind of blurring
blurring them all up.
You know who was consistent? Brian Harper behind home plate. One of the best hitting catchers in Major League Baseball.
Was Harper wasn't there in 87, was he?
It was in 91.
It was there.
No one cares about 87 Twins. It's only about 91.
Little Bird told me that some people are quite passionate about 87.
I stopped paying attention to the Twins after 1990. I can tell you that much.
If nothing, going back and watching 87 is fun just because when the Cardinals take the field, you get Ozzie doing those backflips now and then.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Dude, Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz.
Let's not forget, Willie McGee was one of the weirdest, scrawny-looking little dudes. He looked like a little Italian climber.
There's something really good about the 91 World Series, though, when Ken Herbeck takes Ron Gant off of space. And then he's like, "Oh, it was momentum," and he totally tackled him off the. That was
was that the greatest thing in the world? That was so great. Only because it was our team. Otherwise, I would hate Ken Herbeck the rest of my life if I was an Atlanta fan. So to all our Atlanta and Georgia area fans, sorry,
but that was a clean move. It was a clean move.
So, sorry, you guys won the division like a million times in a row, but you couldn't really put it together.
Now, sorry we couldn't.
It's a bummer.
We could keep this whole baseball talk the whole time, but maybe at some point we can just come up with who the Kent Herbeck of professional cycling is.
Oh, he's Kevin Holtzman's or whatever, the guy that used to ride for Quick Step, and now he's like the Golden Palace DS or something like that. It's totally Kevin Holtzman. You guys remember Kevin Holtzman? He was a little pudgy. He was like Tom Boonan's like party boy friend, like maybe gave him a bottle in the first half of the race, and then like went back to the car to get stock up on the Coke and like make the calls, get the ladies arranged for after the race. But sadly, he will not be there this year because now he's a DS. But this coming weekend, we will see Turbo Tom in action at Het Volk and Kern, Brussels. Kern.
Oh, guys, two great races to start off the year, and we're going to start off the bang because bike racing is finally here. Despite the tour of castles, despite training camp in the castles of the Mideast.
Oh, if there was actually a race called the Tour of Castles, and it was just like a stage in Germany and then a long transfer to Romania, and then a stage in Romania and then a long transfer to Austria, and then it just flew all around Europe, that'd be pretty sweet.
I will say of all the Mideast training camps, the one that I care about the most is the Oman training camp. It does seem pretty cool, like there's some climbs.
Yeah. It did seem like a good race. Nibbles taking the win on some pretty good early season form. I gotta say, across the board, all the fast guys are fast. There's like no little guys winning races this year. Like it's all team lead. Like Valverde won. TJ was near the winning seat. Martin was in the lead of the race. Canceleras won some races. Like everyone who's won this year, even like piddly little things, has been like.
Well, they haven't won anything yet except town line sprints because the real stuff starts this weekend. We've discussed this, and Turbo Tom is back, but KBK is around on Sunday. The most famous winner of KBK all these years is George Hincapie.
Indeed.
Yep, obviously.
Yep.
And
Yep. I think he's got the record for one win.
Yeah, one consecutive win. It was a pretty good streak that he had, and longtime listeners of the show know that the secret thing about the Slow Ride podcast is that he is mentioned in every episode, dating all the way back to the very first one. So you have to be pretty astute to catch a few of them. They're pretty subtle, but there's always a George Hincapie reference. Put it in the Slow Ride wiki.
So, who do you guys have to take this? So, not only first place, we're not going to run a 16th place competition here. That's for the 6 monuments of cycling. Mm-hmm. But we are going to, pay special attention. I will say that 16th place is probably going to be a guy like Tom Boonen. I would say Tom Boonen would be a good, solid place for 16th. But I think the win is going to be our boy, former 16th place winner, Edward Theuns of Trek Segafredo. I think he's going to come out firing because he's still he's not Stein de Volder, who will be like the main guy for Trek or Rast, but he's just good enough that maybe they let Edward Theuns do a little bit of hustle off the front at Het Volk.
That's a good deep pick. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to vote for what's his name who won last year, but I can't remember his name. But I think he's not going to be there. So. I think Sepp Van Mark is going to come out of hiding and make amends for the fact that last year, every time the race got serious, he got a flat tire. He's going to win. He's going to win Het Volk. He's going to win Kern. Then he's going to disappear, and he's going to reappear at Flanders.
Huh.
All right. Who do you got, Spencer?
It's taking March off, huh? I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I have done zero thinking about who will win these races. But
Trust your gut.
But my gut, which I'm going to trust, has me thinking along the same lines as little guy here with not exactly a dark horse, like somebody everybody knows, but who will come out swinging, wants to make an impression right off the bat. And I think it's going to be because he has a new team, a new attitude. Our number one favorite American, Dan Martin, taking either race. I'm not sure which one, but he's going to take one of them this weekend.
Now, astute listeners will pick up that there is a Dan Martin being an American joke in every episode of the Slow Ride podcast, and each time it gets the same reaction out of little guy and I.
Uh-huh. Which,
that
gets better.
Astute listeners will also know that Dan Martin's probably not riding either of the races this weekend.
Probably not.
So it's a 1-2 if you're really astute. You know who's a good pick? Same team, same last name, first name Tony.
That would be.
I don't know if he's riding this weekend, but he has said he wants to focus on the classics this year. He's in good form. He just had the lead at.
Hey, there are. What is cool about these opening Belgian races, KBK and Umloop, is that they bring out all the good teams, right? So you get like the bigger wild card teams like Bora, Argon, Direct Energy, and Cofidis, but you also get Triple C, Polska, or what's now Triple C.
We're going to see who's going to be on Quick Step next year for best place Swanty rider.
We've got Fortuna Vital Concept. Mm-hmm. We also have Nippo Vina Fantini.
Ooh.
We have everybody's favorite Roompot.
Yep.
They've
got a collection of slightly washed up riders from the lowlands.
And Southeast Venezuela is going to be there with their Pippo Pizzato design jerseys. And shockingly, Spencer did not pick Pippo Pizzato to take the win, despite being on the start list.
Yeah, he won't.
Spencer, what happened? You used to just pick Pippo no matter what. It was like a given. If I talked to you the week before, and he was never even likely to win then. So what's changed?
Well, he was likely to win Flanders back in the day, but then I think that's not on his radar anymore. He's Italian. He likes the sunshine. He wants to win on the Villa Roma, and he will save it up for Milan San Remo.
All right, calling his shot now for the first monument of the cycling season.
This is one of the few things he's actually won.
Yeah.
It's the races on this weekend.
Well,
so we have races going on, but I this past weekend did the Doc Hollywood, 6th year of the Doc Hollywood, and real quick, guys, I got a double flat on the new moots on one of the Lime Rock sections, and as I was changing the flat, someone that was kind of hanging out with me was kind of off the back after they caught up to me and we were going to ride into the store together. He's like, hey, why don't you get tubeless tires on your bike there, like tubeless road tires?
You just give him a little smack.
So I'm asking you guys, why don't I get tubeless tires?
I don't have a real good reason, because you should probably just get tubulars because it's cooler, and tubeless you might end up, you'll have to use all that crap and you'll have to say I burped it all the time, and that's really annoying.
Do you think you burp them that often?
I don't know. I only know the feeling of finishing a mountain bike race and hearing just like burped it, I burped it. Everybody just saying burp it.
Yeah.
It's probably not the case on the road. Spencer, you don't have tubeless on the road, do you?
No, I don't have tubeless on the road.
You have on your mountain bike, right?
I do, yeah.
I've got it on my mountain bike. I have it on my mountain bike.
It works pretty good. I actually, I think it makes a lot of sense on the mountain bike. It might make sense on the road. I've got no experience with it, though. But for Tim, I would say if you're planning to gravel grind it a lot, if you're going for the gravel grinder series, if you're thinking about going to gravel grinding nationals, things along those lines.
When is that?
If that's your trajectory, maybe think about it, because tubeless might be your saving grace there. If you're trying to have a road bike and be a roadie and, that's your angle, just stick with tubes. You'll be fine.
Do you save weight if you go tubeless? Like, what's the benefit of going tubeless? Just being able to run at a little bit lower pressure?
I don't know if that's... I don't know. You will save weight. I've never used them. I guess you could run at lower pressure, hypothetically, but you still need pressure to maintain that bead, Yeah,
you're not really asking the experts here on this one, but, I would say...
talk about tubulars? Let's talk about tubulars. I can talk about that.
I would say the rule of thumb here is you got a titanium road bike, so you're already in that master's class. You're already pushing gravel grinding status. But did your bike have disc brakes or regular caliper brakes?
Regular caliper brakes, for sure.
Then you just should stay away from the tubeless. Technology is not your friend. You're a curmudgeon. That's how you pigeonholed yourself.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for the advice.
I like it.
Reese, Nibali, forming a team with Abu Dhabi money?
It's not Abu Dhabi money, is it? I thought it was a different terrible country.
Qatar? I don't know. I thought it was...
I hope the team doesn't happen, because I don't want to have to not root for riders I like, because it's already hard to root for anyone like on Astana, even if you like the rider. Like, I love Michele Scarponi. He goes to just Astana, and it's painful. I see him, I have these conflicting emotions. I love him, I hate him, I love him, I hate him. Same with Nibali. Like, I really like Nibali, but man, do I not like that he's on that team,
You just need to bottle up those emotions and suppress them and just go after, like, what's cool about cycling. Like, hey, man, those Astana kits look beautiful. Like see past the name and just look at the kit and be like, oh...
I don't. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the Astana kit. It's not my favorite kit. It's fine.
Do you know that they have a women's team on the Women's Pro Tour that has the same exact kit?
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm not surprised. It doesn't have. It's not Vino Forever. That's not the women's team.
It's not the Vino Forever, but professional cycling for women has taken a major step this year with the introduction of the first ever road tour, or UCI Women's World Tour. And so ProWomenCycling.com ran a jersey competition for all of the teams in the World Tour, and they did a vote and whatnot. And some of these kits are pretty bad, but some of them actually are designed pretty well. We've got the classic Cipollini, Ale Cipollini with high-vis colors, but a couple of the ones that stuck out to me were definitely the Bulls Doman of Marianne Voss.
That's a good kit.
It's a good-looking kit, even though it has the gradient. And then we've also got the Canyon Shram, which was now sponsored by Rafa, has a pretty sweet-looking kit. Although, I don't know if it's a little dated. It's kind of a little 1980s style with the kind of splatter paint-esque look. But it's pretty sweet. What do you think, Spencer?
Yeah, there were a lot of good kits on there. You know what I was impressed with on those lists was just how many teams there were. Like, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, there's 8 or 10 big women's teams, but there was like 20. There was way more than I'd heard of, and that was pretty cool to see. But some of my favorites were the Visit Dallas DNA team. That looked great. The On the Drops team looked great. And my favorite from years past is the Matrix team. They have had consistently good kits for a couple years now.
You know, you're right. The amount of teams. What's impressive is how many Pro Tour men's teams also have a women's counterpart, right? So, like, you do have, like, instead of the giant Alpecin team, you have the Liv Plantor team. Mm-hmm. You also have the United Healthcare. You have Erika Greenedge. Mm-hmm. You have Astana. You have Lotto Sudal. So there's definitely some crossover. And I would think bang for your buck, sponsoring a women's team would probably be some of the best publicity you could get for your brand. One team that did stick out for me, Cervelo Bigla, because they have the Finnish national champion kit, which actually is really well designed because it fits seamlessly into the whole team design as far as the way that the
that team actually stuck out for me too, Tim, and I'm going to tell you it's a similar reason. It was because they have the Canadian national champion. Because I have decided that there is no way that any team can ever make a Canadian champion jersey look bad. I have never seen one. They always look fantastic. It's just a good flag, so it becomes a good kit. I don't know what it is.
I'm not a big fan, man. I'm not a big fan of the Canadian kit.
You just don't like the Canadian flag, or you don't like the Canadian kit in this use?
I'm fine with I guess I'm not a super big fan of either, but the Canadian flag's fine. I just don't really like it on a kit.
Sorry to our Canadian fan. The little guy has turned out to be racist. We didn't know that this was part of the show, but we're going to have to talk to HR after this.
So you can always check out all the kits. We linked them on last week's episode, but prowomenscycling.com. Little guy, were there any kits of choice that you liked on the
I'm kind of with Spencer. Like that Dallas DNA one was pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. And I really do like the Bulls. The Fossa Bordalo kit is weird because it's got red, and that kind of freaks me out. Because it's like Fossa Bordalo with red, and that's weird. There was one kit I saw on some website, and I gotta find it. It's from like Argentina, and it's fucking
I know which one you're talking about.
Shimano Ladies Power.
Yeah,
that's the fucking kit. That's so awesome, and I really want one. And I found it earlier, and I was like, I'm going to their website, and I'm gonna inquire about this kit.
I had a feeling
it's like pink and blue arms, and pink like shorts area, and then the chest and like torso is like white with like all the logos on it and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then the bottoms have these like squiggly lines, like some sort of pink Tetris cubes exploded on them.
Amazing.
It's basically the Lamprey kit. If it's the Lamprey kit was run into Memphis Design Studios like computer program, this is what would get spit out. It's fucking beautiful.
Huh. So kind of on this note, you touched on something there, and I want to ask you guys if you've noticed this trend that I think I'm picking up on. Do you guys remember in like the early 2000s, like when custom clothing companies like Champion Systems and Pactimo and all the cheap places, when you could finally get your own kit for your own team, and kind of when that started to really be a big thing, and every custom place figured out that they could print all over on the bibs, like do the inside of the thigh and the chamois area as well, and it didn't just have to be solid black, and everybody went crazy, and it was terrible, and it was the worst thing that ever happened, and we went away from it a few years later, and now we've gone back to solid black. Is that coming back this year?
Oh, it's coming back. Because I think that it's a whole new generation of people starting new teams, mm-hmm. and I know exactly what you're talking about, Spencer. Because there was a team in Chicago when I was racing there, like Lot Polish Airlines, mm-hmm. and they had an all white kit, and then on the inner part of their shorts or bib shorts, which normally would be black, they just put a bunch of little airplanes, and it was like so weird. You're just like, what?
Well, even the Shimano Ladies Power, it's black. They're going black on that part too.
So I think that's a good call.
It is a good call because let's be honest, no matter who you are, that you're gonna like rub the inside of your leg against your seats or your whatever. It's just gonna look bad if it's any color but black.
But I'm thinking more and more
brown
pro teams are doing that all over print in there.
No, it's true. Well, I guess if you're pro though, I think as an amateur it makes no sense, right? To have that inside area not black. As a pro, whatever, who cares, right? It's ad space in a weird way. I don't know how the camera's zooming in on people's like the inner legs, but as you're pedaling in certain ways, you get that quick shot and it says like Super Rookies Appliance Mart. Everyone's like, oh yeah, the inside of Cancelera's legs says Super Rookies Appliance Mart. I'm gonna Google that.
I mean, I would.
So let us know what you think of some of the women's team kits out there. The women's kits, I mean, I'm super stoked just for a women's road tour that hopefully brings back the glory of the old World Cup, but a little bit more publicity. And then eventually maybe it leads to a actual women's Tour de France, which would give women's teams the publicity that they deserve and hopefully an increase of salaries for women, because without a doubt, women cyclists are getting screwed across the board when it comes to payout. Also, just distance of racing. They're paying $30, the same entry fee as someone else, but they're getting to race maybe half as much. Definitely some discrepancies there. Mm-hmm. That actually was part of the topic that was up on Twitter the other day, and Adam Meyerson had a kind of a tweet that stoked some conversation on Twitter. And Spencer, do you want to introduce that to our listeners?
Yeah, if you don't follow him on the internet already, you should. But he makes some good observations. But he recently retired from pro cycling. Was a crit racer in the U.S. for our Canadian and our UK listener who may not be familiar. But he recently retired and can kind of pick and choose what races he wants to do now, and has decided maybe he floated this idea. Maybe he's going to choose to do what races he would do based on the women's offerings that race offers. Like, if he wouldn't do the race, if he was a pro woman, then he's not going to do that race in the pro men's field. So that was it was interesting.
So he's looking at to see what would make the most sense, right? So he's saying, hey, that payout isn't good enough. That's not really worth my time, so I'm not going to go. So
exactly,
therefore...
Yeah. He's gonna put the same lens on it he would as a pro man. Like, he would go somewhere to make his living, and if you can't do that as a pro woman, then why would you support that race? So,
he's gonna do 3 races this year.
yeah, basically, yeah.
What's crazy is if you watch New England cyclocross from afar, it seems that there's like strong women's field. There's a really strong community behind forward thinking, but it seems like there's still some promoters that are stuck in the Stone Ages that are like, well, we're only going to put $10 per rider into the prize purse up to $250. Meanwhile, the same men's field guaranteed, even if only 10 people show up, would be $500. It's ridiculous.
$1,200.
$1,200. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that. There's some events that have been around so long that was okay back then, and they just have not pulled their head out of the sand to figure out where they are these days. And it's changing. Slowly but surely, they're getting shamed into it one at a time, and that's part of Adam's plan, it looks like.
Sounds good. I hope he gets to do more than a handful of races, and that'll be a positive way to measure this season.
You think Meyerson's just doing this as to build in the excuse for not racing anymore? He knows that it's only going to be 3, and he's like, oh man, now I can make a statement, and I'm only going to do 3 races.
That's some serious retirement.
I would think so.
Planning.
But he's still riding his bike. I expected him to be eating cake and drinking beers and getting fat. And
the next time we see him, he looks like Greg LeMond.
Yeah, basically. But he's still riding his bike, and he's like, oh, I only got in 4 hours today. And I'm like, God damn it. So Yeah, he's going to be out there.
I think your main thing was like you were really hoping that he would just spend way of the time home with the kid.
Yeah.
And at work, and you'd be getting the commuting miles, and maybe you go out on the weekends, and maybe you'd start giving him a little trouble in the sprints.
I spent a year living there under his roof, like trying to show him the ways of the lazy amateur cyclist, and I thought some of that would rub off. Yeah.
It didn't work.
I seem to have forgotten all the lessons that I've taught him. Like, if you need to blow off the ride, just blow it off. It's fine. You don't got to do it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
It might rain 3 hours from now. That's might as well stay home and watch TV.
You know, since it's winter for you guys up there, you're probably not riding that much. But I know the weather is coming around, so you guys getting all amped. And you up in Minnesota too, little guy. You guys getting all ready for your big group rides coming up, like the big 40-person group ride out to Afton. Spencer, you were out to go tour Walden Pond. You're like, I'm going to go 40 miles.
40-person group ride. Have we ever done a 40-person group ride to Afton? I think maybe we had like 6 people one time.
As our team, but we did a few of those. We did a few of those Birchwood group rides out there, little guy, that were pretty big. They were pretty big. And you know what?
I actually rode my bike this last weekend for the first time this year. I did 2 road rides.
By yourself or with a group?
By myself.
Okay.
I'm not,
we don't care about that
ride thing anymore.
I did a ride this weekend as well, and I went with a group.
I did 2 big group rides this weekend.
And I gotta tell you, it was my first group ride of the year, and I gotta say, I think it was most people's first group ride of the year because there were some sketchy first group ride moves going on. And
you guys have a lot of potholes to contend with up there too. And
we
frost
do.
heaves.
We do, but you know what? I'm gonna give you one of my pet peeves about group rides, and I love it that people point out potholes. It's fantastic, but I only want you to point out things that if I hit them, I'm going to fall into them, break my wheel, flat my tire, crash my face off. Like, I don't need to see every little crack in the road or every little everything. Like,
so you're saying there was an overabundance of pointing? Like, there's
exuberant pointing at any little thing that was coming up. And
So what is the rule that should be said here? Like, your disclaimers were a little bit too many. Like, it's got to be something snappy.
Well, if I see a finger point from the person in front of me down towards the ground, I'm moving out of the way. I'm figuring I'm going to hit something. Like, you know what I mean? Mm. And if it's just like a manhole cover that's there, like, whatever, I can ride over that. It's not a big deal.
But they think you're probably like fiddling with your power meter. I mean, that's where we're at now. Is everyone's like. You have to just assume everybody. You got to point at everything because someone's probably they're probably tweeting. Mm-hmm. You're checking your Instagram. You might be checking in on that block on Foursquare.
Like I'm just looking to see where the next Strava section starts.
Yeah,
right. You got to know when to attack. I hear you, Spencer. I totally agree.
So I think we need to create we need to create a what is that, like an acronym when you take the letters and then it's like an easy thing to remember. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like ACEs, and then ACEs stands for fall into die pothole.
Well, okay, that's pretty good.
I don't think you nailed that one. Pretty close though.
That's pretty close.
I thought it was all right. I give it a C+.
Yeah,
that's a little work.
Yeah, I mean, we might need to refine it a little bit, but if you see a pothole and it's big enough that you're going to die, fall into, or puncture, then you go ACEs, and then you point at it. And then you get out of the way.
You say.
Okay.
The problem we always had on group rides is like I would be pointing at things in the woods and on the side of the road.
That's another thing.
Whoa. See, I just want to talk about things.
Look at that cardinal up in the tree. And he'd point at it, and everybody'd swerve out of the way of like mystery thing that they thought was in the road.
Hey, I may not have won a lot of town line sprints on the team, but I guarantee you I saw the most hawks of anyone on the team.
It's true.
So
and pointed them out.
I think that's a good rule, Spencer, that there's too much pointing going on. I think the big challenge.
But pointing is important, and
it is. But I'm
a fan
of the snap. I'm the fan of the point and snap. Like you point down and then you just do the
snap.
That's stupid. I've never even heard of that.
What? I don't know. Do you think people can hear you snapping when there's like 15 freewheels all
You probably
buzzing?
got full finger gloves on too. Nobody can hear this.
Well, no, I'm down here in Florida where the fingers are exposed. Uh-huh. And question.
I got mittens on.
What are you supposed to do when there's a pothole on both sides of you, but there's a narrow isthmus between, like almost like you're Dorian Gap, and you're kind of going through it.
You got to yell bunny hop or something. Just go bunny hop.
So you don't go like double S's.
If you're at the front of the ride, you should have steered the group out a little further around it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you should be.
You're the shepherd. If you're at the front,
the hand wave on your back.
Yeah,
all right.
A little wave around.
Yeah, lead your flock.
There's three moves. There's 3 moves, right? There's the point at a hole. There's the kind of flat waving hand for like, oh, there's sand or glass or something like all over the road. Watch the surface. And then there's the the wave like, oh, we're passing a slower cyclist or a jogger or walkers or whatever. Like move out, move around, or a parked car or something. Those are the 3 acceptable ones, and that's all that should be happening.
I don't know. I think you're missing an important one there, Spencer.
What's that?
Aces.
So that's going to bring me to another gripe about group rides. And let's just get this out of the way because it's early season. Let's correct all these bad habits early. And Tim, I don't know that you've ever had this error because, you don't do a lot of training. But I know me and Little Guy have gone on some training rides where it was a pace line ride. You guys have that down there in Florida?
Dude, all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So something that I notice happens sometimes, and I'm not, this has happened everywhere I've been and gone on group rides, is, you meet up at the coffee shop, you have a couple espressos, everybody gathers up, you ride out, you're about 20 miles into the ride or something, and all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, let's pace line. And everybody starts screwing around, and nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. And it's just a mass confusion for about 5 minutes until everyone's like, whatever. We're not pace lining. You ever experience that?
No, they're all perfect. Every time I've ever been on a ride,
perfect.
The pace lines just naturally coalesce around me or the other protected team leader on the ride. And they listen. They're like, hey, what should we do now, coach? And I'm like, hey, let's do a pace line like 24 miles an hour, pull through. The key to the pace line that most people forget is that you pull through, but you don't pull through like 3 miles an hour faster than the other guy. You just pull through like a little bit faster, and then as soon as your front wheel or your rear wheels even with their like front wheel, you start moving over a little bit. Kind of keep the whole thing going. And you think after about like 7 or 8 rotations that people would figure this out because they'd be looking around them rather than looking at the cardinals and the houses on the side of the road. But still, it takes some time. That's why you just need to have a team leader to really direct everything.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's about being smooth, right? Like, yeah, and you're right. You start moving over before you're actually past the rider.
Yeah.
But it's about moving over slowly because if you moved over too fast, there would be trouble. But yeah, not pulling through. I would even say pulling through is a bad term because it makes people think they need to pull. They just need to keep riding. It's fine.
So, we're talking about 2 things on the ride, and I think most people can kind of get through on the ride, right? Like, that comes with time. We need to talk about actual, like, group ride etiquette. That really matters.
Well, and this was part of my point about pace lines. I can put it out there real quick, is that if you're going to do that, if you want to do that on your ride, say so before you guys leave the coffee shop. Just say, hey, about 20 miles in or so, we're going to do a pace line. Do you know what that means? Do you want to participate? If you don't, sit at the back. Don't rotate through. Let everybody else in, rotate through. Pull off into the wind, slow, the fast lines on this side, the slow ones on that side. Just put the message out there. Don't it never hurts to try and do that on the road. Anyway, continue on, Tim. What else did you have?
Well, no, I was just saying like that gets to my point. The most important thing of the group ride is showing up reasonably on time. Like no group ride starts at 8:00, right? Like if you say, hey, group ride starts at 8:00,
8:30.
then the ride rolls out at 8:10.
Well,
8:30.
Yeah.
No, not 8:30. It's not 30 minutes. That's too much. You get 10 minute. The rule is now set, guys. Precedent.
Does Sarah need the car?
Sarah does not need the car right now. But the truth is that if the ride is published that, hey, we're meeting at 8:30 for the rollout, that ride leaves at 8:40. Don't be late.
See, I agree, but my window is 15 minutes.
15 minutes kind of pushing it, because, like, 15 minutes you're leaving lots of room for, like, people that are like, then they're not leaving their house until, like, the published start time.
Yeah.
It slowly starts getting pushed back. 10 minutes.
15 minutes, you're leaving enough time for Spencer to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm going to show up 10 minutes after, and that's when you're saying you're going to leave, but I still need to get an espresso and drink it.
Yeah, I mean, so when we used to start rides, we were pretty close to Spencer's old house. He was probably always the last one there, and then he would order a coffee. And we'd all be like, dude, you're already late. And he'd be like, oh, I just got to get a quick coffee.
I think 10 minutes published.
All right. Well, whatever it is, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that needs to be generally understood by your team.
15 minutes is way too long.
Well, that's debatable. But
I mean, you just debate.
it
obviously is debatable.
Yes. But
I'm gonna say half hour, give or take, before or after. It's sort of a choose your own adventure thing. Fuck it, screw the group ride.
You
Just go
ride
on
by
your
yourself
own
though, so this See,
so
that's
the
what
other
happens.
thing is,
what I
like,
generally
now you guys
do.
are dealing with the slush, right? Like all the wet roads.
Yeah.
Are fenders mandatory on your group rides?
I was thinking about this weekend because I was riding with full fenders, and I was thinking about all the times we went on rides, and I had full fenders, and none of you assholes had full fenders, and how
true.
much it ticked me off.
I just had the clip
Get some
on.
fenders. Yeah, you guys got nothing to say to that. You got nothing to say, do you?
Yeah, I got nothing. Although I will tell you, New England is, it's got winter and it's got its periods of wet, but the people here are absolutely crazy about their fenders. Like, they're Portland style crazy about their fenders, and
Because they make sense.
It's a little bit unnecessary. Like, fenders are good, yes.
No.
Front fender, rear fender. Get the race blades. Get whatever
Do
you
they
need.
keep you dry, little guy, that much?
Yeah, because they're fenders.
And
They
more
cover your
importantly,
wheels.
they keep everyone with you dry.
Here's the thing: you need full fenders. None of those terrible clip-on seat-post thingies. Like real fenders. The number of group rides we've been on in the spring where I have been courteous with my fender etiquette, and I've had somebody show up on their like summer road bike on a March ride, and it's all wet out. What the hell's up with that? Why do you want that streak down your butt, and why do you want to spray that crap in my face?
I don't know.
Frank Viola didn't do that.
That's
No, Sweet Music did
saying.
not do that.
That's all I'm saying.
He'd never.
Well, do you guys have anything else that we need to cover?
I don't know. What else were we going to talk about? We probably had something else we were going to talk about.
Well, guys, something very...
Andrew Schleck Cycles is open.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. Something big did happen though this past weekend. We lost someone near and dear to all of our hearts, to retirement, not to death.
See, I thought you were going to talk about the BBC guy that passed away.
Nope.
The Eurosport commentator.
Nope.
Which I don't remember his name. I don't know if I've ever heard him.
Much less heartfelt than that.
Okay, so not a real thing. Okay.
Well, Sven Nys retired.
Yeah, that's
And
true. Didn't we already talk about this? Or was that on the aborted episode we did for like 5 minutes before this?
Well, he retired officially, and he crossed the line arm in arm with Sven too, and that was just amazing.
That was nice. That was really nice.
Is that his kid's
okay.
name? Sven too?
No, that's his
it's
teammate.
buddies. It's Sven Van Tornout. So did you notice that the guy who crossed right behind them was like one of the other Van Tornouts, and he was like very emotional too, and he was hugging Sven Van Tornout.
So who won the race?
Do you think he was Sven Van Tornout's like cousin or some shit?
Do you think
or, like,
that
nephew?
because Sven 1 is retiring, that Sven 2 has to retire as well?
He is retiring.
Oh, well, there you go.
Sven Nys is retiring, and so is Sven Van Tornout.
But did
They're both
Sven
retiring.
Nys win the race?
No. Your drive side dispatch, Cape Howell won.
But why would Cape Howell do that? Why you think Sven Nys would win by like just because
I'm gonna say that I think Cape Howell has no respect for his elders. That's what I feel. I feel like he was very disrespectful. I think what did Spencer? Do you remember what he get? Like he got like 35th or something, right?
Oh, he did.
Well,
Just
yeah.
doing victory laps around.
Yeah, he was having a good time.
So 34 people don't respect their elders. Yeah, it was nice though. It was a good thing. It was emotional. His kid was there. He looked really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Great. It was great. Great career. He'll be sad. He'll be much more missed than when Bart Wellens ran away hiding from a possible doping suspension last year.
I just don't know how much I really care about cyclocross this late in February.
Yeah.
After World Championships, cross season's done. No one cares. Yeah. I'll give you 1 week after, so you can do like the championship criterium cross races. But I agree.
It starts to kind of lose its swing. But with Sven retiring, I don't think is there any more races? There might be that indoor race. There's always that wacky like motocross indoor race that happens like in the Metrodome every year.
Just like the 1987 World Series.
Just okay.
And with
so we
that,
brought it full circle. So this has been the 1987 World Series cast. We'd like to thank Steve Lombardoza.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to thank Tim Laudner.
Naples, Florida.
I'd like to thank Gary Gaetti.
Future 1991 American League Rookie of the Year Chuck Knobloch, who
for being
was drafted in 87,
17 or something at the time.
Maybe he was drafted in 87.
I don't even think he was like in 91. He was like 21. He couldn't have been drafted in 87. He probably wasn't even, he's probably still in high school in 87. Did either of you have the 91? So I had the 91 compilation video, like the VHS that has that. Highlights of every game. Okay, so you had that. Do you remember in that there's a part where they're like sitting in the bleachers with Chuck Knobloch's like sister or something?
Yeah.
She goes, "Chuck, go Chuck," or something. That's my favorite moment of that.
That's some good stuff.
It's so good. God, that video is great. If my VHS player didn't eat tapes, I would go and watch that right after we finish this podcast.
And with that, we'd like to thank you for listening to the Slow Ride Podcast Minnesota Twins cast. You can leave us a review on iTunes and Stitcher. We haven't gotten any new reviews this week, but we hope that maybe Kirby Puckett or Dave Winfield gives one for us. Major props to BK1 of Rhyme Series Entertainment for the intro and outro music. And always make sure that you wave at your fellow cycling nerds that you see out there, even if they're wearing spandex, even if they're wearing jeans. They're riding bikes. Give them a quick little wave. Don't overpoint out the potholes. Show up within 10 minutes of the ride time.
And always throw your water bottles when you're on Swift.
And always throw your water bottles at anyone that looks at you wrongly.
No, Swift. Not in real life. That's dangerous.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.